This is a Clouds weather alert.
Good early Monday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center with a severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect here until about 3 a.m. for parts of Alachua, Bradford, Clay, and Putnam counties. We're watching some pretty nasty stuff here, northwest side of Gainesville right now. Even some weak rotation here within the Doppler algorithm. So if you hear some type of freight train noise, get to that tornado safe spot. But right now, there's no official tornado possible tag or tornado warning here in place. So just something to watch here. But we definitely have some stronger winds kicking up in a very highly populated area this morning. So we need folks really to take heed of this right now. Right around Northwest 30th Terrace there, Northwest 46th Place there. The latest scan now pushing this closer to Northwest 8th Avenue, Northwest 17th Avenue here, Northwest 21st Drive. This is coming into Gainesville. Now, some of the worst of this, maybe some hail there, just maybe a little less than 3/4 of an inch in diameter, but that wind potential seems to be the greatest concern right now. Luckily, the students at UF are on spring break, but still, a lot of folks still in Gainesville there during the overnight hours might be getting caught off guard by this a little. The threat isn't all that high at this point, but it's enough to have a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued for a highly populated area, as there could be some pretty nasty weather right now around Northwest 29th Avenue. We'll go ahead and zoom out just a little bit here now on this view, and you'll be able to kind of see here the trajectory of this a little bit. As I zoom out even further, I want to kind of leave that closer to the edge of the screen, but I'll bring it in a little bit here. You can kind of see that trajectory had it kind of going east, but a little bit south, so right into some of the most populated areas of Gainesville right now, being impacted by this severe thunderstorm on this early Monday morning, really in the wee hours of Sunday night going into Monday. That's why we're on the air with you guys right now to protect you, your friends, and your family. Again, this severe thunderstorm is located near Gainesville. We have Gainesville, Melrose, Hawthorne, University of Florida, Orange Heights, Gainesville Airport, Noonan's Lake, Rochelle, Waldo, and Grove Park into this. I know we have a little bit of Bradford in there. That's why I put the county names in our description. But really, the main focus right now seems to be right over Gainesville here. Right over Gainesville, not necessarily Gainesville Airport at the moment. But we'll have to see what site or what type of winds they get at that site here in just a few moments. It'll be kind of interesting to see it. I'll put that on the map here. Centered a little bit south, the worst of this stuff from that METAR reporting station. So 71 degrees there right now at that as of last check, but not really getting too much of a wind observation as of the latest reading there. But again, a severe thunderstorm warning for Gainesville here until about 3 a.m. Severe thunderstorm, nasty storm, northwest side of town right now, right across, it looks like Northwest 23rd Avenue, over toward U.S. Highway 441 even getting in here. A pretty nasty storm, even a little bit of rotation developing to the south there right near Buckman Drive there, over to West University Avenue. So right near, if not over the University of Florida, in theory we could have a little bit of rotation unleashed here, or at least some wind enhancement. It's trying to get there in toward those areas. So thankfully, shouldn't have to worry about anybody in the residence halls here in terms of just a widespread number. At least there may be a few in some of them. I'm not sure the policies are over there that are like the policies that are over there. I'm not 100% sure if there's maybe some folks still there on spring break, but most people wouldn't be there on campus at least. And that's the good news, as we're watching this right there near State Road 26, Southwest 4th Avenue. Again, we're watching things here right in Gainesville. I know we're looking almost too high up to know if there's anything that's really happening down toward the surface, but we'll have to wait for the storm reports to come in here this morning to see if there's any damage in Gainesville and Alachua County. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning until 3 a.m. for parts of Alachua, Bradford, Clay, and Putnam County. So I know it's been thundering, a lot of lightning up toward Bradford County and Stark proper, and it wasn't severe up here. A little bit of Bradford under this warning, but it wasn't severe up here as we got towards Stark. But definitely maybe waking you up. You already lost an hour of sleep last night, and now you're losing some more sleep here tonight, unfortunately. But we need to be on with you when there's a warning. Didn't go on for the advisories here because just not quite enough there in terms of the threshold. But we were posting about it on Facebook and Twitter there. Twitter at Cloud Casey, Facebook Casey Cloud WX, and at Clouds Weather there as well. And also, by the way, the flood advisory here as we get further up in Bradford, over through Clay and some of the other neighboring counties, but not seeing as much of the heavier rainfall up there right now, more like light to moderate rain. last hour or so is more toward Keystone. Well, you see that some areas here estimated to get maybe, haven't got, I should say, 3 inches plus here from about Lulu here. You can see that strip there, west of there and east of there both. So, again, something to keep an eye on here for sure. But right over Gainesville right now, I mean, we can't really tell if the circulation's getting down toward the surface, but it's showing pretty tight rotation. At least there's some wind potential in there. No debris, and it would be almost impossible to get that type of signature on here. It seems like all these circulations we've had tonight have not been producing any damage that I've seen so far. We've had a bunch of rogue little weak circulations from time to time, more than you generally would see, but we're not meeting that threshold here for severe thunderstorm or tornado warning. This one did get a severe thunderstorm warning, but without that tornado possible tag. So right now the Weather Service doesn't really think it's happening there in terms of a tornado, but we do have a severe thunderstorm warning here until about 3 a.m. So again, we're going to continue to watch this. I'm going to step off the screen real quick as we continue to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family here. I'm going to turn one of our other lights on here in the Weather Center. We had them all off here for a while, but make sure we have another light on behind me here as we're in front of that key wall this morning. So again, just trying to keep you guys safe, keep you guys informed here. I'll go ahead and step back into where the shot now as we try to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family here. Again, right over Gainesville, you can see here we're getting some of that wind enhancement for sure. Right there, Southwest 6th Street, over toward, it looks like Southwest Depot Road there. I know it could be a little bit displaced because we're looking so high up, because the radar would suggest that maybe just a tad north of there, right over the heart of Gainesville right now. So, gotta be really careful here in this type of situation as we continue to monitor things here in the Weather Center. So again, we're seeing the severe thunderstorm warning remain in effect till about 3 a.m. So again, that's why we're with you guys right now, to keep you, your friends, and your family safe. Again, you see, just looking at some different things right now, greens and reds, they're really coming together. They're not the strongest colors we've ever seen on here, but I mean, this would indicate maybe winds at least straight line here at about 60 miles an hour. If we actually had something in terms of circulation, you could always get winds a little bit tighter than that. There on our view here that are showing up if you had a radar closer to the surface, and that means stronger winds down toward the surface here as well. So again, just going to continue to watch things. No debris showing up, which is good, obviously, but we may be getting some power outages there in toward that region in Alachua County. I know we have some cameras on 75. Let me see if I can pull any of them up right now here this morning as we continue along with this coverage. Let's see what we have for you guys. I know I can't pull the Gainesville cameras in here very easily, but I'll go ahead and try to pull out one, maybe get a view to the east if we could, toward Gainesville. There, I know the traffic's backing up there a little bit on I-75, based on some indications that I'm getting here. At least it's a slow go. There this morning, maybe more of that slow go versus a backup. I mean, our system's trying to show it's kind of backing up, but I bet it's just a few cars that are out there having to go slower as they should here in this type of situation. So that's what we're kind of trying to gather right now here, just to give you the latest intel on what's going on. So again, continuing to watch things. We'll try to take this side of the east. Maybe we can get some of these lightning strikes in here on this camera shot. We'll try to see. It's a little bit blurry, but maybe it'll give us some of these flashes of electricity here. Starting to see some of that. Look behind the scenes just now. So that's what we're kind of doing with here at the present time. You can see here it's a blurry shot, so we probably won't stay on it too long, but we just want to keep our eyes on it here to see exactly what's happening on this vantage point here this morning. Again, you can see there's that electricity there. In that view, as we're looking back in towards some of these areas that are being impacted by this frequent cloud-to-ground lightning producer. So again, a nasty situation. We had quite a bit of lightning up toward Bradford County earlier on. So that was kind of intriguing to see here. Nothing severe necessarily, but severe warning until 3 a.m. And that's why we're on the air here for Gainesville proper. So just trying to give you guys a quick look outside there. We'll pop back up the radar as lightning pops again as I switch away from the camera behind the scenes. But You can see here we have again some wind enhancement at the very least here on the southeast side of Gainesville now. Some lightning is still showing up here in the vicinity. Some of that's a little displaced north, so it's possible radar to get in the circulation displaced just a little bit here. So that's why everybody needs to be really careful within this severe thunderstorm warning polygon that's in play until 3 a.m. here. You can see here that we're watching this wind enhancement for sure in toward this area. Not too far away from State Highway 329 over toward Southeast 19th Place. Getting over there toward Southeast 19th Street there. We just, by the way, got word that they've canceled the warning now for the Bradford, Clay, and Putnam portion. So it's just about Alachua County now. And that 60-mile-an-hour wind potential continuing to 3 a.m. Only get a 16-mile-an-hour gust there at the Gainesville Airport so far. And again, we were thinking the worst of that was going to be to the south here with the worst of the wind. And that's likely what we're seeing down toward the surface, gust higher than that, down toward the surface. I mean, as we get up there in terms of those winds. So I'm going to check some power outage information real quick. I would think we'd have some outages if we had the winds like it looked like on radar occurring down toward the surface there. But if it's a situation like what we've had with some of the other storms earlier, closer to the radar, not enough for a warning, we really didn't get a lot of power outages. A few in Bradford, but nothing overwhelming. Our power did flicker where we're at here east of Stark, but didn't go off. But I'm going to step out now, get you guys some power outage information here so you guys know exactly what is going on here. This morning. It may not be quite up to date, but hopefully it'll give us an idea of what's going on here in this type of situation. So let me go ahead and see what we have. Again, severe thunderstorm warning continues for parts of Alachua County until 3 a.m. this morning. So that's why we're on the air with you guys, to protect your friends, protect your family here, protect yourselves. That's why we're trying to keep you guys up to date. As I go ahead and look at a Pilot.us map in Florida now, Alachua County, 1,467 customers in the dark there right now. Alachua County, about 44 customers in Bradford, 36 in Union. So we're going to see how things progress. Even Gilchrist, 61 customers without electricity there. So just keeping that in mind as we look across the region now, as we continue to give you guys the very up-to-date details and everything that's happening. We'll go ahead and zoom back in a little here. See you guys what's going on. Maybe some wind enhancement or southeast, again, 21st, and then also State Highway 20, Hawthorne Road. It looks like it's in here as well. So that's something to take heed of here right now in Alachua County with a severe thunderstorm warning in play till 3 a.m. And we may not get the reports immediately. I know we had a bunch of delayed reports coming in out toward the west here just in the last couple of hours coming in the system. So it's possible we don't really get that information in here till later on today on if anything did occur in terms of any type of wind damage here. Very well could have this, since we've already seen some of the power outage numbers mount there in Alachua County at over 1,000, close to 1,500 customers in the dark. So that's what we're tracking here right now. Again, just trying to give you guys the very latest here to protect you, your friends, and your family. So I'm going to step back in front of the key wall now as we try to give you guys the latest information here this morning. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning continues to about 3 a.m. or so for parts of Alachua County, Bradford, Putnam, and Clay. The small slivers that were included, you guys have now been taken out of this, but Alachua County is still under this warning until 3 a.m. So that's why we're sticking with it here. Hopefully we don't get any damage reports in, but again, some power outages have been reported here this morning in toward this region. Could be because of the lightning, you never know, but also could be because of some wind damage. So we'll have to just see exactly what is found out here in the coming minutes and hours as we look toward this area. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning until 3 a.m. for parts of Alachua County. Again, Weather Service watching this, the latest statement from them. At about 2:43, a severe thunderstorm located over Gainesville, moving southeast at 30 miles an hour. Gainesville, Hawthorne, University of Florida, Noonan's Lake, Rochelle, Grove Park, some of the areas under this warning. Airport is too, but really the worst of this is to the south, as indicated by that 19-mile-an-hour gust. They're on the northern edge, which I don't think is producing as much. So that could be a little bit of a false site report there in some ways. I mean, it's accurate information, but what I mean by that is that it might be kind of giving you a false sense of security there. So just to kind of explain that out a little bit better, a false sense of security, maybe seeing that 19-mile gust up there, because we likely have winds at least over 40, if not closer to 60 miles an hour there in towards some of these areas here in Alachua County right now, which could knock out some more power, could cause some minor damage here. We're talking about maybe some trees being knocked down there, maybe even. You're talking about tree limbs, if nothing else, and then you have those electric lines to worry about too. So there's stuff to keep in mind here this morning for sure in Alachua County, an early, very early morning wake-up call with a time change. As we're looking here in parts of Alachua County this morning, again, a severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect here till about 3 a.m. So for another 11 minutes or so, State Road 20 there. That's what we're watching some of the worst of this here with the wind energy and the severe weather potential. We don't have any tornado watches or thunderstorm watches in play, but I'll go ahead and go over some other stuff for you guys real quick here in the weather center. So you can see here this yellow box is getting smaller, but it still includes a high population density. But then we have temperatures in the 60s up here. Hopefully, with these 60s coming on the board, and that could start to preclude the threat a little bit further north. And we're down to 64 now here east of Star, but we've already picked up an inch of rain since midnight. It's not even 3 a.m. But then as we get back late yesterday, about 6/10 of an inch. So we're at about 1.6 inches for this event here. And you can see the margin of resistance after 8 a.m. does still clip a little bit of Levy and toward Marion County there, also up toward parts of Putnam and Flagler as well. So even as we get past 8 a.m., there's still a small threat there, maybe in the southern county. I'm hopeful that some of this could kind of try to push out here a little bit sooner than that, because stuff's been trending ahead of the models a little, but the models have been insistent on stuff hanging around maybe into the late morning even in some of those southern counties. So maybe at least by like 8 a.m. we can get this threat completely out of here. I know we hadn't had any warnings for hours, but that's what happens. We got to be on our toes. That's why we're here in the Weather Center, to keep you, your friends, and your family protected. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning in play at about 3 a.m. So for another 9 minutes or so for parts of Alachua County. Again, let's go ahead and zoom back on in toward this area right now on the Doppler. You can see it here. Some wind enhancement, southeast 19th Avenue over toward Hawthorne Road. We're continuing to watch this here this morning as we give you guys the latest. Definitely some of that wind enhancement in there could be causing some issues, as we alluded to, maybe with trees, tree limbs, power lines, and the like. So I know we're hearing some heavier rain for the moment when we're at east of Stark, but that's probably intermittent. At least a moderate downpour on the radar is what we're seeing at this latest scan here. You can see south of Trenton, we're getting in towards some lightning, but no significant weather advisories there. But there's a special marine warning to the west, so we'll keep our eyes on that. Again, watching some new information come in now. New flood advisory for parts of Alachua, Bradford, Clay, and Putnam until 4:45 this morning. So again, continuing to watch some different things here in the Weather Center as we give you guys that latest information. So just trying to let you guys know what's happening here. We'll just keep looking at the details here for sure. Likely closer to this area is what we're talking about it with the 1 hour rainfall rates here. Still pretty high toward Gainesville, even a little bit higher so far toward Keystone, though, closer to 2 inches in the last hour there. But likely getting closer to that range there in Gainesville over the last few moments here and in the next few moments as well. So again, we're at 2:52 right now on the clock. Again, it's a severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect for parts of Alachua County until 3 a.m. So still watching this here. You have parts of Gainesville still under this. You definitely don't want to be near your windows right now. Do not be near your windows, especially if you're near State Road 20, if you're near areas there. They zoom in a little bit tighter here, Lakeshore Drive there. You got to keep that in mind here with this severe thunderstorm warning in play for just a little bit longer here. You have this potential around that lightning potential closer even toward Campville there, not far away from Orange Heights either. So I got to keep that in mind here. Some of that electrical energy out there this morning. So that's what we're kind of dealing with. I'm going to check those power outage numbers again. So we're going to step out of the key wall so we can gather this latest information a little bit easier now here as we get off camera, so we can kind of dive just a little bit deeper on what's going on. So there's your viewpoint right now of the Doppler radar Again, continuing to watch things here. I know Duval County, I'm not seeing too many outages up there, but latest number there, only 29 customers. Bradford is down to 1 now. But Alachua County's at 1,473 customers in the dark there. So we're just going to keep watching that area to see if that number continues to increase on us here. We're talking about Gainesville Regional Utilities, GRU there, 1,435 customers in the dark on that out of about 100,000 or so, and then Clay Electric's about 38 out of about 25,000 or so. That's as of a few moments ago. I'm actually checked the GRU site directly from it. It may give us a new number here that's a little more recent. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do that here real quick. I know it's always important to kind of give you guys an idea of those most up-to-date details here. I just kind of try to make sure you guys know here what is happening in terms of that power outage information here as we're looking toward parts of the viewing circle there. Thankfully, you have some spring break, but still, it's important to kind of get an idea of what's going on in terms of some of these power outages. So, again, that's what we're trying to do right now with the outage map there, getting that current outage information on out there. And it looks like the number is now up as of about 8 minutes ago to 2,314 customers in the dark there on the DRU system. I'll see where some of the highest concentration of outages is, or the highest concentration is, or where that highest number of them are. So again, I just kind of continue to watch here, looking at about 8 customers there on one of these spots, but then over 2,000 in the dark here as we get over there. It looks like not too far away from 58th Avenue, Northwest 58th Avenue and Northwest 46th Terrace. So that's the area we're talking about in Northwest Gainesville with some higher concentration of outages. So we continue to watch this situation as it progresses here. Looks like started to get some of these outages right by the time we came on with this live stream, and now that number may be even enhancing a little bit more. So that's kind of the storyline there. We may get more across the Gainesville Regional Utility footprint here. And wow, that surprises me. It makes me think we're getting a little bit stronger winds than we were thinking, folks. This is surprising. I was not expecting it to get this far north. So again, our radar is not getting the best scan of this here. But we just got a gust here at the Gainesville Airport to 62 miles an hour. So that's surprising, to be quite honest here. That's not exactly what you would expect on that side. So we might have had winds closer to 70 then, I would say, down into where some of the areas hardest hit. Because that gust just came in there to 62 miles an hour. So that is the highest gust we've had during this whole event, I do believe, in our area. I had one toward Baxley way back, maybe 12 hours ago, to 67 miles an hour. But 62 or about 67, I believe it was. But now they're going to expire a warning here, but they may have not seen that gust come in, to be quite honest, as we continue along here with this coverage. I mean, that's a pretty high gust here for sure to be on the edge there like that. But I mean, it's in close enough proximity you could believe it, I think, in toward that area. So we're going to step back in front of the wall now as we gave you some of those up-to-date power outage details. But that gust is just from a few minutes ago, 49 after here. So again, that is surprising. We sometimes have seen some higher gusts up there. I know in the summertime we had some of that last year, but that is one of the stronger gusts we've had at that airport. And for the storm, I mean, that's a few miles away, really. That is surprising to me. And again, it goes to show if we have some radar displacement. I mean, that's 3 or 4 miles, at least 2 or 3 miles from what the radar is showing to be the worst of this storm. So again, got to be really careful here. You see the warning went away, but again, I'm not sure they got that information in. They might have already sent that out to be canceled here and expired out before that information came in. So we're going to stick with it a little longer to see if they issue a new warning, because that indicates to me at least that we may have, I mean, that could have been a downburst or something like that, but also the overall velocity here in this situation might be more in that 70-mile-an-hour range here with these winds. So that's something to keep our eyes on here over the next few moments. I know folks are in town, maybe still at some area hotels for Gator Nationals, and they're being awakened here this morning to some nasty weather for sure, and hopefully don't have any trees falling here on cars. With those type of winds now being reported, that becomes a little bit bigger concern here. maybe that we had gusts closer to 70 down toward the core of this is at least a possibility. So again, a nasty situation here. That radar displacement, I wish we had a radar down toward Gainesville. It would help us a lot. But we have to use the one from Jacksonville here. That's the closest, about 5,000 feet up or so. And it looks like we must have had some pixel displacement here, or it's just some boundaries getting involved here. I mean, because our radar is really showing only winds and that 30 range up there. But again, we had that to the south there of the site. By a few miles with what we were seeing here on the radar. So that's something to kind of bear in mind, something to keep in mind here this morning. Again, seeing this, we just got a new significant weather advisory now for stuff coming on shore there toward parts of Dixie County. That's the one going to play till 4 a.m. Some strong thunderstorm activity there. Gusts to about 50.5-inch hail. So that's from the Tallahassee office now. So we'll watch that. Now, with this being reported at 62 miles an hour, again, that kind of makes us a little more concerned here to some degree. Maybe they think it's weakening out enough they don't need to issue a new one. Or maybe they think this wind height here measurement was a little bit on the higher side, talking about it being at 148 feet with the elevation. But again, we've had the pattern before, I mean, where you can get some gusty winds there. But this is one of the stronger ones we've had in a while. I mean, we've had hurricanes come through and not get a gust this high there unless something's changed out of the airport there. I mean, that's really impressive. Pressure's about 1,010 millibars there. We're 1,009 actually here east of Stark here, but we haven't had any gusts anywhere near that. I mean, the highest gusts we've had were lower down on the actual height of the anemometer, but 11 miles an hour here today. And as I look at our reading from yesterday there, I mean, we'll kind of look at that real quick. We only got to 20 miles an hour on 5 o'clock Eastern. So that's kind of impressive for sure. As we look toward that area, and in terms of rainfall rates now, I do want to talk about, we got an 8-inch rainfall rate about 144 here east of Star today, 144 a.m. And then as I look at that, yesterday the highest rate was around 6 inches an hour, about 1025, when we had that other accident coming on through. So, and dropping temperatures some here, but again, that's not a temperature reading in Gainesville. It might be pretty close at this point. The temperature reading, I'm gonna look at it here, 70 degrees. But 62 as a wind gust that was reported here in Gainesville just a little while ago. I mean, that is some impressive wind being reported by that METAR site in Alachua County. So they did just go with another significant weather advisory instead of a severe thunderstorm warning for this area for parts of Alachua and Putnam to 345. So they must think that wind was just an anomaly there, and that's not really the storyline across this. But again, that's the circulation there, though. Again, I mean, sometimes you get tornado warnings for stuff like this, but the environment hadn't shown it's been favorable in producing any tornadoes in our Jacksonville counties here at this point, which is good news. We've seen a bunch of this stuff here that a lot of times you get a tornado warning on, but the environment just hadn't been quite there to get this down to the surface. It doesn't seem, we haven't seen any debris signatures or any damage reports, so I kind of understand why you don't want to go with something like this at this point, but it's still better watching because stuff like this, if it were to get down to the surface, I mean, then you could have a quick spin up tornado on your hands here just near Rochelle. So again, we'll just continue to watch things here. So another report just came in now, and it's coming from that Gainesville airport site there at 62 miles an hour again. So I wonder here, that must be them trying to report that again, unless there's some malfunction. But maybe it was hit by lightning. I don't know, because I mean, I would kind of guess that that's the right information coming out there. But you kind of started to wonder now, seeing that come across again. But it was within the warning, and that's about what the threshold is on a warning. I've seen it happen. I know we didn't have a warning out back. I believe it was in the summertime of 2022, and ended up getting a severe gust, and a warning came shortly after. I think the storm was in a pretty similar proximity to the site here, if I recall. It's been a while, but still, maybe it was even further than last summer. Maybe it was the summer before, but you get the idea here. It's been a little while, and it's interesting to see this here for sure. These storms kind of pulse up on us here to some degree, but again, just going to continue to watch here on the Doppler technology as we look here around Rochelle. Let's go ahead and see what we got here in terms of some other information. I'm going to pull up the Moody radar. I just want to see what it shows. Or I wish we had Tampa. Let me check Melbourne. I might get it at a different angle. Wouldn't have to cut through as much rain to get this. So let's go over there. You can kind of see what's going on toward parts of Alachua, and it's showing the same thing every day since I lost about 20,000 feet, but still, right, that wind enhancement is, but it's showing it there. Although it gets to 20 there, looks like toward parts of Bradford County, the airport there, Keystone Airport is just barely into Bradford, and in Dixie it gets to about 20, 19 toward Williston, and 12 toward Palatka there. But again, 62 reported there at the Gainesville Airport. Again, it kind of defies what you see on the radar scans, but some type of maybe displacement there since we had the warning in play. It seems like it'd be a believable gust here, but Weather Service are not going with a new warning here at this point, so they think maybe it was just a one-off, or it didn't actually occur there to that degree, and there's some type of issue with the site, or reporting site. So I'll be interested to hear, because I'll have to go one way or the other on that, because they have to issue a local storm report for that if they believe that wind gust is actually really something that verified there at the airport. They'd have to do that, so it went into the storm report database there. That'd be one of the stronger gusts we've had at that site here, going back a while. But again, you see some wind enhancement here, a little more toward northern parts of Putnam County. But this area here is what we're still kind of watching the grand scheme of things here between Rochelle and Hawthorne there as we get toward eastern Alachua County. I know Hawthorne winning that state title there in football, and right now the Hawthorne Hornets and some of their fans about to be getting some nastier weather there as this kind of moves on in over the next little bit. It's moving in southeasterly direction, so at least some strong winds to about 40 miles an hour possible, but you never know if something slips out a little bit stronger than that. So I'm going to check the power outage numbers again, see if they've gone up a little bit more in Alachua County here. I'll go ahead and step out of the way so I can do that, and you'll be able to kind of get an idea of what's going on here with some of those different reporting points here, Roy, in the overall situation. So again, let me go ahead and see what we got. Again, GRU now, we have 2,342 customers without electricity according to their site there, and their reporting information. So I'll go ahead and check the overall county though. I mean, it's going to have some numbers that might vary a little because we're including Clay Electric and different things here from different timestamps, just a bit maybe. And that's 2,338 customers in the dark there in Alachua County. So again, seeing those outages there at about 2,314. So again, a lot of these are on 39th Avenue there, occurring right about the time we came on, or maybe some of them a little bit after even, as we look here at some of these timestamps. So it looks like they've already started some of that restoration there with one of these areas, so that's good. It says complete, but still set up on the map for now, so maybe the way the numbers are adding on up in here, there's going to be a little bit of a discrepancy with that. But again, just continuing to watch here, because if they actually get those back on, then that number should change here on us and go down a significant amount here. So still up there over 2,000 at the last check, but continuing to watch. I mean, the state of Florida right now, we have 2,995 customers in the dark, and about 2,338 of them are in Alachua County. So as we get toward Union County, 36, Bradford, 19. So not too much up toward the north here. California, though, seeing outages with their weather, nasty weather, over 12,000 in the dark there in that state. So just kind of giving you guys the latest information here. Since we're not seeing any new warning come out, I know I'll check with the chat system one more time while I'm behind the scenes, but if we don't see any new warning come out here in the next few seconds, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up, because we're back down to what is believed to be a significant weather advisory situation versus severe weather. That was a pretty nasty looking velocity scan there though. So, I mean, this stuff's been doing this all night where I want to pop on, but we don't get a warning, so really you don't really want to, in that other view, kind of contrasting views here of some of this stuff here. For sure. I mean, when you think about it, you can kind of go both ways with it. Think one thing, but really, it'd be best. We don't want to overwarn you guys when there's no official warning from the Weather Service. It's kind of my viewpoint there. So, but I'll go ahead and get back in front of the key wall now as we continue along here with this coverage at about 3:08 this morning, just for a few more moments. See if we get any type of warning issue down here. It's always easier to stay on versus come back on in these situations. Again, winds of 40 one way and about 15 the other way here. So continuing to watch that area to the northwest of Hawthorne. It's interesting. If you're in Hawthorne, if you hear that freight train noise, get in that interior room away from windows, put that baseball helmet on, or maybe something like that, or a bike helmet, football helmet. You kind of get the idea here. Something that it helps you just in case if you hear a noise like that, and you're getting in the interior room because of that. Hopefully it didn't occur. We don't have any official warning here. We've just had this stuff all night, and you gotta almost think. I mean, we've been getting the atmosphere to preclude it, but eventually you feel like one of these is just going to touch down on us here, and we might not get the greatest heads up on things just because of the overall setup. You'd have to issue a whole bunch of these, and then maybe one verifies. So it'd be weaker, but still could cause some damage, even in that EF0 range. If nothing else, I mean, that's showing winds to 60 there, moving right toward Hawthorne. Let's give it another scan or two to get it past Hawthorne, I think, because it's going to get in more rural territory once it gets into Putnam here in the next few minutes. So let's go ahead and get it past Hawthorne, because it's only going to be maybe one or two radar scans to get it through Hawthorne here, because that is showing winds to 63 miles an hour. I know we're looking a lot, but that is impressive there right now. I know things don't necessarily set up for this to all reach down to the surface, but we were already on for a warning with stuff that was looking pretty impressive, but didn't maybe get a pixel quite this vivid here. With a history maybe of producing wind damage, at least power outages and a report coming on in. That's about all you can expect here during the overnight hours, the wee hours there, unless something that's really major happens. So again, this is moving right toward Hawthorne here in Alachua County. Again, maybe went to 60 miles an hour according to our radar, but Weather Service thinks right now maybe closer to 40. It's getting down toward the surface here. So that's kind of what we're going with, but still got to be careful here in this area in Alachua County. So again, we're just checking this out. This is the scan from the last minute or two. And it's moving right on in toward Hawthorne here with some stronger gusts, making for a little bit of a rocky overnight period there in at least eastern Alachua County. So keep that in mind here as this gets on in toward Hawthorne. In that region, it's moving off toward the looks like east at about 35, but again, there's a little southerly component here as well. So we'll just continue to watch the progress of this. And again, we're looking high up, which can maybe preclude some of this getting down toward the surface here. But again, radar showing winds to 64 miles an hour, and they have now verified, based on issuing the local storm report at least, that gust was legitimate there at Gainesville Airport at 2:49. So again, just got to be careful out here. In toward these different areas, even if the radar is displaced a little. I mean, there's a chance that this pixel could be a little bit further up here. In actuality, if it's getting down to the surface, then one way or the other. I mean, maybe closer to here, it could be, or maybe it's a little bit down here if things are a little bit more messy here. I mean, but based on the history, it would seem to be more to the north with that pixel. But we're just so high up, we're kind of having to guess a little bit here on where this is, unfortunately. As we go ahead and get on in here on the Melbourne radar, you really can't see it very good there. Just there's a lot of wind aloft, but looking way up there. And you see some stuff in Levy County too. That's really getting high up. Though we don't have the Tampa radar. It's down right now for maintenance, I believe. So we can't use that to look at some of that stuff in Levy County. That's a second opinion. But again, I'm just going to continue to watch this here. I know we're way into the night right now, but we're just sticking with this just a little bit longer because these storms have had that tricky look to them. You just never know what can happen in this type of setup here. I mean, we haven't had an abundance of reports, but these signatures have been impressive here. That's your new scan right around Hawthorne, some gate to gate there at least. Again, maybe it's just not happening down toward the surface, but you never know. You just never know with that gust to 62 being reported. I know, get back to that current frame there, and we're just continuing to watch things right around. It looks like over toward 211th Street there. So again, no, it's late, so it's kind of hard for me to read some of these small roads, but there's that wind you saw there right around in the vicinity of Hawthorne here. It's that bright area there, maybe displaced a little, as we alluded to here, but right in there, some stronger winds here in Alachua County. So we're continuing to give you guys the latest here for a few more moments. So if there's no warning in play, without a warning in play, I'm not going to stick this on here much longer with the cover. Not going to stick with it much longer. But again, we're just going to keep giving you guys the latest for a bit since we have this right around Hawthorne and a more populated area here. As we're looking, this will be crossing right over 301 right now there US 301 there in eastern Alachua County. So again, nobody needs to be driving there really because of at least stronger thunderstorm activity, and maybe something severe or spinning is not completely out of the realm. It's not a high chance, but it's not the lowest chance we've ever had either, as we've alluded to. So again, watching this around Hawthorne there, 211th Street there. And let's give you another radar update across the region since we don't have any official warnings. You see the stuff coming in off the coast there. We have some more marine warnings in that area. Let's go over to our other view here right now, and you'll be able to see some instability there right along the coast, surface base, Cape. Your supercell composite values are also up a little bit down there, and your tornado parameters try to edge up to the north a little bit, and they do edge up a little, not as much on that colored table, but look at the rotation track over the last hour. It's definitely shown some stuff here in Alachua County at times. The red, so I'm pretty tight on our scale. Then it kind of weakened off a little and it's tightened back up a little toward Hawthorne. So that's kind of just a better way to visualize it sometimes for folks, as you saw that there on the screen. So again, let's look for colder cloud tops here. And we've been kind of lacking that through this event. Let's see if we have that right now. We may have it on the Meso 2. Meso 1 doesn't have it. So let's go to CONUS there to US, and you can see it to some extent, but really not coming into play all that much with the oranges there and the colder cloud tops trying to be that story here today as we go ahead. And I see more of that margin risk for later on as I pop that on. More for wind and hail versus tornadic activity, but we'll be monitoring things here just in case something tries to evolve on us here this morning as we continue to look toward the south there, keep monitoring the situation. So we now got about 15 minutes past the warning here. So I'm going to give it one more radar scan unless something just gets even stronger with this. Let's go ahead and wrap it up here, I think, for the time being. I'll be back if necessary. Otherwise, I'll be back later, now tomorrow night, Tuesday night here, with a formal update from the Weather Center. Maybe some stuff later in the week. I know this time 30 years ago, folks, I wasn't around then, but folks here in this area were tracking the storm of the century, ironically. That was coming right on through during the overnight. It was a deadly night here toward parts of the viewing area 30 years ago here in the wee hours. So, I mean, I don't think many people are thinking about that right now, but definitely could be some deja vu there for folks if they're being impacted by some of this stuff here, at least. Kind of makes them a little bit nervous. It's not going to be to that magnitude, thankfully, but still, we always get kind of concerned here with this stuff on our Doppler. I mean, that's actually some pretty good gate-to-gate still, 30, 40 miles an hour each way. Still no debris, but if we had that, we would have a problem because that'd be up to 5,000 feet, and that'd be really damaging to get the debris that high there. But again, we're still watching this. We're still tracking it. But since we don't have any official warnings, we're going to wrap it up. If we need to come back on like we did just a little while ago, we will. Don't get me wrong. We're here to protect you. We're here to protect your friends. We're here to protect your family here. And if we get another warning, severe thunderstorm, or especially tornado, we'll be here with you guys. Our covered areas. I hear a little bit of thunder here east of Start. Here to look at our covered area. 62 counties that we cover. We're based in Bradford, but we're watching Alachua County right now with the greatest interest here. That moves into toward Putnam. Maybe clips Clay there here with some of the accent, but that storm in particular, as we're watching it here, I know on our rotation tracker, is headed more toward the east-southeast, so that would seem unlikely here. Be more about Clay County being missed there, and Putnam County getting into more of this here over the next little bit. So we'll keep our eyes on it. If we need to come back on, we will. But otherwise, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for trusting me here on this early Monday morning, the wee hours. We've already lost an hour of sleep last night. Losing some more right now, but it's all about the mission here at Cloud Weather to give you guys that latest information.